Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear from our host, Andy Albright.
Hey, I need to know if I'm coming in loud and clear because I put this mic on myself and I'm not the technical expert. So, hope I'm going to proceed. We have exciting times coming on. I'm very concerned about the people in Florida and South Georgia, and I don't know who else is going to hit by this hurricane, but we have a hurricane coming to the insurance world with the Alliance, and we have some people that started driving early and some people flying in early, some people already here. I'm coming in loud and clear, thanks. It's going to be crazy. I am excited. This is our first mind game convention with Mark Aceta, where he really gets in deep. We're looking for some crazy results from this. Thank you. From this convention. I'm looking for some different mindset. I don't think somebody asked me, said, Andy, what is Mark Aceta going to teach? Actually, the guy's going to be here. Really smart dude, big income with us. And he says, what is Mark Aceta going to teach us that you can't? And I was like, well, nothing, I don't think. The only thing is, not sure if people are hearing it from me because of where I come from. The other thing is, it's not the only thing I talk about. I'm the CEO of the company. I'm dealing with carriers. I'm dealing with people. I'm dealing with issues. Mark Aceta is simply the guy that comes in to get your head and your heart right, designed to take over the world. Okay? So, that's what he gets paid to do. He's done it all over the world. I have extremely high expectations of him. Brian Adams, my CEO, has high expectations of what Mark can do. So I'm excited. I will be there taking notes. My wife's going to be there. My children are going to be there. My son-in-law, my future daughter-in-law. I mean, all the people that I know and love are going to be right there taking notes, learning, trying to get this concept of what he teaches. When I first talked to Mark, I went through 250 things that said, do you think like this? Do you agree? And we were in agreement. We were absolutely in agreement. And I don't meet hardly ever anybody that I would agree with on how to get stupid rich, how to build a business. And I believe he says it. In exactly what I mean. He just does it a totally different way. And I've had some people that I trust a lot have said, I think he's great at what he presents, the way he does it, the method. So I have extremely high expectations. If you're in Florida, if you're struggling with flights, I would say come early, start now, get here. It's going to be worth it. We get to announce finally. You have no idea. I'm not a good secret keeper. I'm more of a networking guy where I tell everybody what's going on. And we have one of the greatest the greatest trip we've ever promoted. We're going to start promoting it this week at Breakthrough, and I'm going to announce it to the world on the activity call Friday at 10 o'clock. But the people that are here are going to hear it quicker, and I know the word's going to leak out, and I don't care, but I am going to tell everybody here, don't post it on social media. Don't tell people they didn't make it. I feel sorry for them. Their dog died. I got you. Their dog died, but they're not here. You know what I mean? So whatever happened, it's a benefit to being here, and you get the concept. The other thing is people that are here get to start earning this trip November 1. So you could finish up earning Ireland. You could win the extension or earn the extension with Ireland. You could win another trip for two couples or an additional couple now in October and November. But November 1, you're doubling points. You're getting points for next year's trip and this year's trip. So it's going to be kind of crazy. The other thing we're going to announce is National Convention in January with all the recognition for 2022 and location. And the hint is it's not going to be in Burlington, North Carolina. It's going to be somewhere else. So we'll start moving those tickets. You'll get advanced information on that. And we'll be announcing it to everybody on Friday, so everybody hears about it and knows where it's going to be, and they start getting their tickets in their hands. All right, so So many daggone. That's really the biggest thing I've got coming up is breakthrough and all the announcements that's going to happen there. I've been traveling like crazy on this 24/7 tour. We have more events coming up. I'm going to talk about those, but I want to touch on the broadcast and to you guys here, but on the broadcast, more importantly, the things that some of the things, not all, but some of the things I've been hammering on the road and trying to get through to people like, this is how you change your life. And I don't know about you, but that was all I used to think about. I say all, 99% of what I used to think about. I mean, it was just, I just wanted to be free. I wanted, like when I saw this opportunity, even before I saw this opportunity, I was thinking, how do I get to drive the $100,000 cars? How do I get to go to Italy? How do I get to experience stuff that I see other people on television? I was never the guy that was looking for have enough money to get by and be comfortable. I mean, I just like, I don't know. So when I'm looking for people and at Breakthrough, here's I know one thing Mark's going to be talking about is who wants it all and who wants it now. And it's funny because people on the road, they'll say, everybody does. Everybody wants it now. Everybody wants to get rich. And I go, yeah, no. Either you are uninformed or something's not right in your head. You don't get it because people that don't do the stuff to get it don't want it. Like that's the definition. It's not how much they cry and how much their tears come down and their heart aches. It's what they do that determines what they want. And to me, that's great news because a lot of things that the way I feel has nothing to do with what I do, but everything I do, that's what gets me there or not. Like, for example, scared. What's your name? I know I just met. Destiny. So the scared analogy is this. And I really had a nice conversation with a super sharp guy in Birmingham, Alabama. Where was we? Keene, Mississippi. And he said, I think it's the name of it. He says, people need to have confidence so they're not scared. And I was like, oh, not true. To the contrary. If I needed confidence so I wouldn't be scared, I'd probably be a failure. I'm scared doing a lot of times. Like, in other words, the feeling is not what I get paid on. It's the do is what I get paid on. So if I'm scared, so people are like, so you're not confident? Oh, a lot of things I'm not confident in, but I figure out what I'm supposed to do and I do that. It's like one of the best analogies I've ever heard is this woman, she needed to go to the grocery store, get some eggs and some bread and some milk, and needed it for the family. And she had a child with her, and the child was screaming to top of her lungs. And before she was going in the grocery store, so she's in the car looking at the kid, talking to the kid, trying to give the kid milk, trying to get him calmed down, and the kid's screaming. So the question is, does she need to get the kid to shut up and quit screaming before she goes in the grocery store? Well, yes, she needs to. We don't need the kid screaming bloody murder, just acting like she's been beaten and just abused and screaming. You don't want to go in a grocery store with that, do you? No, I don't want to do that. Calm down. So do we wait? Oh, I got an idea. Do we leave the kid in the car tied down? No, that's not an option. So what do we do about this kid screaming? What do we do? Whoop him? Makes it worse. What do we do? What do we do, Chris? Take him in anyway. Go get the milk and eggs and the bread. So isn't that inconvenient? Yes. And doing something while you're scared is very inconvenient, but you get paid to get the milk and the bread and the eggs. It's the what you do part that people don't get. It's not the confidence thing. I can tell you how to get confidence. I can tell you how to get commitment. I can tell you how to get it. Or we can just shortcut it and tell you what to do. Go in and get the kid and sit there and give you a 3-hour seminar in a car trying to show you how to get confidence and calm the kid down and, and all that kind of stuff, or we could just do it. My solution, Patrick, many times has been just the do. I'm the doer guy. That's why on the back of my Maybach, it's do the do. Do-de-do. Do the do. Like once I figured out what I was supposed to do, then my job was just to execute. So really been trying to teach people that. That's one of my big concepts. And I take a lot of time to develop it and try to give people examples, but it is, it's learning. And then the next question is what to do. We do the, the what, the why, and the how, or it's a coin. I know I got one right here. The what do I want? How do I get it? The what, the why, and the how method of setting goals. I want the bread and the milk and the eggs. Why? Because the family needs it, right? We got to feed them. And then the why, well, the what is the eggs and the bread, and the why is because the family's back home and we're on a time schedule, right? And the how is we pick up the baby and go in and do it anyway. And then people look at us, we just get the egg. I mean, what are you going to do? Well, it's inconvenient. All right. So here's one of the how. If you want to be successful, if you're one of the top people out here and you're going, Chris, you want to be successful. Let me tell you, here's the simplest do. You've got to be the biggest promoter, not the biggest, but you got to double, triple, quadruple your ability to get people to move. Brandon, you're comparing your numbers to somebody else's, or how many people you have selling versus how many people come to this event. You either get bitter or you get better, or you give up, or you get satisfied. What I try to do is try to get greater and greater at getting people to come to events. The simplest do is to come to events. So if you are trying to get somebody to sell, you got to be able to sell, right? Who's the first person you got to sell on insurance or IUL? Who's the first person you got to sell? Yourself. So events, you want other people to come to the events. You got to be sold on the event. And some people say, like, what if I'm not sold? That's true. I don't make the rules, bro. I'm the referee. I'm the apple picker. I'm the guy that tells you that's an apple, that's an orange. I'm just telling you, I've been doing this for 30 years. I listen to the crazy rich people. I listen to the massive marketers, the people that have made a lot of money, and they say the number one thing is getting people to come to events. So how do you sell yourself that coming to an event is just, how do you sell yourself? I know how I sell myself. I call myself names. I talk trash. I read books. I educate myself. I talk to people that are crazy rich and I get them to tell me. And then I listen. I go, oh, okay. And eventually I'm sold. Right? Now, if the wrong people are preaching it, I don't listen. So it's got to be the right, coming for the right people. So the person with the most people that come to an event. Now people say, Andy, we got one day to promote breakthrough. Right. Have you ever heard the next time I'm going to do great, or Monday I'm going to do that great? And a lot of people don't like this, Chris. They go, no, it's now. It's now. You like now, Andy. I am a now person. So let's do all we can do for the next 24 hours to breakthrough. But once we've done that, we've got to be thinking national convention. Does it make sense? Like it's our whole deal. So my number one recruiters in the room, your job, yes, is to recruit, but we don't get paid on recruit. We get paid on volume, structure and volume. So getting them to come to breakthrough. You need to be doing a mental thing. Do I have anybody coming? And then if you get a person coming, how do you get another one coming? And it's like, I pull out all stops to get people to move, Chris. I learned this 30 years ago before this business. And at times I've let up in this business. You know why? Because I make so dadgum much money. I wasn't as desperate to make more. So I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. So I didn't push as hard. That is called being a liar, is what that is when you're not, it's not having integrity, right? It's letting people get away with something dumb, and I know it's bad for them. It's like letting your kid do something that's going to hurt himself, and you don't do it about. That is bad integrity, not telling a person the truth. So, well, you said you have bad integrity, not getting people to go to meetings. Yeah. And so, yes, because I need to promote meetings harder, truer, more sincerely, whatever I got to do. Okay. I feel like I've done it to breakthrough. I really going into breakthrough going, who's here's here. I'm still working right now, but who's here's here. I don't feel bad about the last 90 days. Since our last convention, I feel like I've done everything I can do to get one more person here. Do you? Because all you can do is how do you feel about it? All right. So first thing, selling yourself. And I have people hit me with this. I've heard this question quite a few times traveling around is, what if my boss is not here? Some people call him boss. What if my upline is not here? What if my manager is not here? I'm going like, first of all, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Are you talking about the sponsor, the person that told you about this business? Because that's the biggest thing they can do is tell you about this business. If they're not setting the proper example, don't let that enter your mind. Like they've brought you into the classroom, and now the professor, the teacher says, this is how gravity works. You don't go back and say, hey, you invited me to this class. Is this the way gravity really works? The professor's explaining gravity. Go with the gravity and get an A on the test. Don't listen to the person unless if they're here with you. So the person that hired you is here with you, and they're going, see, I told you. That's awesome. But if they're not, don't be mad, don't be upset, but try to find somebody that's preaching the theology, somebody that's teaching how it really works. In other words, if the person's not setting the example, don't follow them. Find someone who is doing what you want. So somebody that's got the results, that's who you want to be talking to. And the stronger the results, the stronger you want to pull to them and listen to what they're saying. Okay? Are we on this, Patrick? So Patrick, you're hitting the road. Hannah's hitting the road. Clay's hitting the road. Brandon's hitting the road. You guys are on the road. You can't go in there thinking the wrong thing. Well, you can, but don't go in there thinking the wrong thing. I got to get this person selling. I got to get them making money. I got to get them loving me. All those things are important, that they like you, that they're selling, that they're making money. Your number one thing has got to be thinking Dallas. Oops. Your number one thing has got to be thinking national convention. Does that make sense? Your number one thing on your mind. The number one has got to be the number one. I talk to people. They say, well, he's only been around for a week. I go like, have you ever heard me talk to somebody about the business? The first thing I do is tell them the biggest event. Like it's in the first 15 minutes. I go, let's get this on the calendar. I don't ask them if they're going. I don't try to get them to buy a ticket. I just start the process because I know ultimately that's what I'm trying to do. That making okay? So people say, what's this got to do with selling insurance? I thought we were selling insurance. Yes, we are. We've ran all kinds of statistical analysis, correlations. The people that come to the events move the most volume. There you go. So why is that? What do you want to know? What are you, Mr. Scientist, Mr. Psychiatry, Psychology? If that's the way it is, why do you want to? We can talk about it. I'm sure Mark Aceta will spend 2 hours talking about it, but we know those are the people that sell the most. They have the best persistency with their policies. They stay on the books. They get the biggest premiums per sale. They also hire the most people, and then they get their people to sell the most. Like it promotes itself when you get people to come to big events. Okay. So it's not worried about your upline. Okay. It's good if they do. And if you're setting an example for your team, please God, please goodness, because what happens is if you don't do it, you lose leadership. And everybody wants that good feeling of having people follow them or their egos. Like their egos want people following them, and then they don't come, or they don't set the example, and then somebody gets attracted to other people who are killing it, and then this guy gets, or girl gets their little ego hurt. Like, come on, man, you got to let it go if somebody's trying to be successful on your team and you're not setting the example and they are. You got to let it go. Okay. And if you're the one and you feel like the person that hired you is not setting an example, you got to have the mental fortitude and the drive to see it through and not worry about what they're doing. Does that make sense? I mean, it's like your parents. I mean, some people quit working the minute they make more than their parents. They don't want to show them up, or their neighbors. They want to make more than their neighbors. That's another reason to hang around people that are doing way better than you, because you'll keep fighting like crazy to get to where they are. Whereas if the people around you are where you are, you'll be satisfied. And you'll be like, hey, I'm doing better than my neighbor. I'm doing better than my cousin. Like, yeah, I know. Good. Happy for you. That's not a real stress job, doing better than that person. It's a lot of it depends on what you want. That's why our goal this weekend is going to be how to identify people that want to go 24/7, and how do we pour more gas on the people that really want it. How to identify them and let them raise their hand and say, hey, I'm one. Let them identify themselves, but we got to watch what they do going forward to let them stay in that 24/7 club, if you will. Okay. So to get people to come to meetings, you need to inspire confidence. You need to inspire trust. So to inspire confidence and trust, you have to have character and competence. In other words, who you are and what you can do. That's what people are looking for. So when you're chatting with a person, you go flying in, Patrick, and you're looking to show character and competence. You've heard me say this with new recruits. I say I'm going to do something, then I'm do it. You say you're going to do it, and then you do it. And the more I say it and do it, and the more you say it and do it, builds trust. So I got a trust. I got an integrity. So 3 things for character: integrity, maturity, and abundance. Integrity, maturity, and abundance. And for trust, it's technical competence, conceptual competence, and independent competence. So 3 different competencies do trust. So integrity is walk the walk. So let me I want to do a walk the walk story. I think, is this mic on? I think it is. Hilla, come up here and give me a competence walk the walk talk. You know what I'm talking about. Everybody has, I don't see, tell me, let's see. You know what? There you go. I'm not sure if this is what they see. If that's what they see, we need, no. Can't see your face. Yeah. Remove that piece of paper over to the side and bring that stool right here. That'll make it more confident. That'll work. So you guys, what's that? Keith says fine. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, go. And the mic works good? Okay, good. Thanks. So tell us about your convenient trip up here, how everything was smooth or not.
So
first of all, tell them who you are and what you do.
My name is Kevin Hilla. I'm a recruiter for Brandon Manley out of Treasure Island, Florida. And I love Florida, but yeah, got to be safe out there coming up. We got out there Monday this week and driving up.
So why are you leaving so early?
To prep, to make sure, really just to get out of there. Just to really
get the hell out.
Yeah.
There's a hurricane coming. Yeah. I'm going to put the storm shutters up. Good luck with that. You know it's a hurricane, right? I'm going to put some, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I tell you what we did is we hid our cars at the airport. We hid Brandon's car, and we hid the Moki, and the Moki's the least valuable, so we hid it, like on maybe 4 feet higher. But if it's 16 feet waves coming in there, Bo, we ain't going to be able to do nothing about it. We need to get the hell out of Dodge. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
True that?
True that. Yeah, no, we're surfing out there.
Oh, I guarantee you it'll be 4 feet deep in your house.
Yeah, I hope not, but
I've seen it before.
we'll make it work.
So y'all just got on the road.
We just got on the road, beat all that traffic.
Mic up.
So, yeah, we made sure we got out of there just to, yeah, it's because everyone's trying to get out of there. You know, you don't want to get stuck in any traffic. There can be some crazy accidents coming up.
Speaking of which,
so my brother and I, we drove separately. I had my dog with me. I dropped my dog off at my parents' house in Wilmington don't want to leave him in Florida. So coming up here, we drove separate cars. Mike, he was a little ahead of me. He was a little anxious to get up here before me. And on the way up, there was a little 4-car backup that he got involved in. So Mike got in an accident on the way up here. So, I mean, luckily Mike's here with us today, thank God. But, I mean, yeah, absolutely could have been way worse. I got to see it, the whole thing. Everyone's car was totaled. It was a nightmare. So that's just one reason, you just got to be careful. Just really take that time to prep and think about what you're about to go do. It's a long ride. Get your bathroom breaks, get your snacks, get your water in the car.
It's very important.
And so
that's good stuff. Take notes.
But yeah, luckily I was behind Mike. I followed up behind him. There's like a 2-hour backup. Instantly, Google Maps, 2-hour backup. You're seeing all these 18-wheelers, and I'm like, oh God. But so I was there to pick up Mike. Got Mike, got all of his stuff. So hey, we still got here. That's all that matters. So it was convenient timing with the storm. Yep.
What happened? What'd you do? Did you run over somebody?
No, luckily
Changing lanes?
it was the first time in my life it wasn't due to my negligence. Someone else finally messed up. So I truly had nowhere to go. And it was a trailer horizontal in 3 lanes. And sure enough, a car went into him, a U-Haul went into that car, and then I was on a bridge, had nowhere to go.
Oh my God.
Yeah, total.
She went right into the car in front of you?
Totally.
Did the car behind you hit you too?
No, I was the 4th car, last one. No one hit me, of course. I almost wish they did.
Why?
Because now it's like I'm the last car.
Somehow you're going to get blamed again.
Right. Like it'll find its way. But
look, you look to the left and right and think, I got to avoid this?
Yeah, I tried, and we were on a bypass. I had nowhere to go.
This trailer has crossways.
Yeah. The trailer was horizontal on vertical roads, but we got up to Burlington.
This is bad news. We're at war on your poverty. I've been at war on my poverty for over 30 years. In war, people get hurt. We've had people get killed coming to conventions. I should have been killed numerous times coming to conventions, driving late at night, sleepy. And people go like, we need to do something where nobody gets hurt. I don't know what that is, where nobody gets hurt unless we're not at war. If we're playing patty cakes, right? I mean, I'm trying to do something. Something's going to happen. Does that make any sense? Like, let me give you a heads up. Something's going to happen to mess up your mood. Something's going to happen to mess up your attitude. What are you going to do after the mood buster? So tell us about it. So what happened? You're crashing. Your brother's there. You're on the phone.
Yep. I was pretty stressed out. I was like, wow, I just totaled my car. I'm on the way.
Looking around for blood?
Yeah, I was kind of in shock. And then I'm thinking, I'm going, why does this have to happen going into this event? But at the same time, it's almost, where else would I want to go after something like that, where I'm kind of like not in the best mindset? I'm like, might as well go to Breakthrough.
Might as well go to Breakthrough.
And really let's hopefully get something as much as we can out of this. But yeah, it was.
So what'd you do? I mean, did you have your car towed? Did you jump in your car and leave it on the side of the road?
Oh,
what'd y'all do?
Came and took 2.
You got what do you call it? You got that driving
AAA. Yeah.
AAA. You got it. Good job.
Yep. So they came. The flatbed took 2 of the cars out of there. 2 of them left. the cops and ambulance left, and they took my car. Kevin, I probably caused 6 hours of traffic. Sorry to anyone coming from Florida. But Kevin came and got me. We went straight up to Wilmington, North Carolina, another 5 hours, and then we came up last night here to get here early before this event.
Yep.
He's sitting there like nothing happened.
Yep. That's all you can do.
Yeah, what else you gonna do?
Right. What
Exactly.
else are you going to do? Things are going to happen for sure.
All right. So integrity is character. First part of character, integrity is walk the walk. If you're giving up, if you're dropping down at the it's not this is a massive thing. Man loses his car, almost gets killed. Right? This hurricane's coming. It's terrible. I agree. Y'all jump back over there. Thank you. I agree. Our plan was to come up Wednesday. I think we're coming up Wednesday. Might have even been coming up Thursday morning. Wednesday. And then we were like, hello, news, today and they give you warnings for stuff, right? And they're like, hello, there's a storm coming. So I'm looking at me and Jane are talking like, whew. And she's like, we can't leave the dogs here. I was like, no, we can't leave dogs here. Dogs got to go with us. She said, we can't leave the dogs here. I was like, I know, dogs got to go with us. And I'm like, yeah, the dogs got to go with us, right? So I'm like, we got to get out of here. So we're saying, all right, we're getting out Tuesday. We're getting out Tuesday afternoon. I got a doctor's appointment Tuesday morning. I want to go to it. I want to get that out of the way. I'm looking at that news. Hey, evacuating the whole daggum island. Evacuating all of Florida. I'm like, you know what I mean? People going to be parking over there at the airport. They're going to be, these public transportation? They're terrible. They looking for a reason not to work. You know what I'm talking about? These American Airlines and Delta's about the best one I found, but they terrible too. Okay. Just because they're the best, they're still terrible. They'll cancel on you in a minute. They don't care. You got somewhere important to be. And then, of course, we got N24/7 jet. We got that jet, and I'm thinking, they're going to be delaying and a storm. And I thought, we got to get out of here. So I got thinking about it. I kept calling the doctor's office. This was Monday morning because they closed on Monday. And I said, I bet they're going to close. They're going to cancel my appointment. And I'm going to be stuck here. No, I'm getting out of here. I told Jane, I said, we're going to get out of here. I ain't going to that doctor's appointment. And then I kept talking to her, looking at news. I was like, we got to go now. So we ended up leaving Monday. I was like, get our stuff packed. She's like, I got to get a shower and put my clothes in. I got to get the dogs ready. Dogs, they're tough to get ready, Let's go. We left Monday. It's just, okay, same thing's going to be in Dallas. Let me give you a prediction. Ice storm. It's going to be an ice storm. It's going to be a flood. Yeah, I'm just telling you. I've been doing this for 30 years. Never fails. Some junk comes up. Car's broke. Somebody gets sick. Somebody gets COVID. My cousin's third nephew got COVID. You think I ought to come? I don't know. I know what I'm doing. I'm walking the walk. I've got integrity. I'm going for it. Maturity, consideration, and courage. What I'm saying to you now could be considered mean, or it could be considered courage, and it could be considered consideration. You know what I'm saying? If I don't tell you, then I'm not mature. I'm just letting you, I'm not being the daddy, or I'm not being the mom. If you let your kid do something and you don't give them feedback, that is not a sign of maturity. You're just a kid too. So courage and consideration that demonstrates maturity. Feedback. The breakfast of champions. Some people say it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner of champions. I'm not sure if I was going to talk about that, but I'll do it. So your breakfast is vision, and your lunch is feedback, and your dinner is you make a change. Does that make sense? So you see what you see, your vision, where you're going, and then you get feedback. Like if you're in the jungle and the guy up top is screaming. You say, I'm going over here. And he goes, no, there's quicksand over there. He's like, I'm going over here. I see a click. No, there's over here. So that's feedback. That's lunch. And then you go, hey, how about I go around here? Yeah, that's a good idea right there. You with me? It's constant checking up your vision, you see, your feedback, and then your modification, your adjustment. Takes a lot. Some people like it, some don't. I was having a conversation with a kid yesterday, and he said, leave me alone. I said, all right, do it your way. You know, I mean, what am I doing? I love the confidence, you know. He gets in that quicksand, he's going to be screaming. I'll be like, all right, here you go. Here's a rope. Here's a vine. I'll throw him a poison oak vine in there. They can get some poison ivy when he gets pulled out. You know, like, man, we got to, you know, all right. So, all right, competence. So character, integrity, maturity, abundance. Character is you being there no matter what. And people ask me, you don't understand. I go, I don't understand. You could have just had terrible luck. Okay? And you couldn't make it. I don't know. You could say, no, Satan was trying to attack me, or God was telling me not to be there. I just be honest with you, I doubt God's talking to you. I don't think he's telling you not to be there. I do not think he's sending you a signal. You're not that important. They send signals. We're like, no, I am that important. Okay, I give up. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to show some consideration. I got courage to tell you, but I ain't going to keep arguing with you, because what's the point? You know, it's like people tell me all the time, I was praying to God that he would send me somebody to tell me how to get out of this situation. I go like, look, God told me to go to work. Your name was on the list. He didn't say call Chris. He didn't say call Destiny. I just told to go to work. Does that make sense? Like, I'm just working. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And you were praying. Here I am. There you go. Match made in heaven. A God thing. I just know I'm working. Here I go. I'm going to work. What you going to do now that you had somebody show up and reach your hand out and say, let's go? Competence. You got technical, conceptual, and independent competence. We know what technical is, right? How does it work? How do I book appointments? What do I say? What do I not say? Technical. Okay. It's how to do it. And it's funny because people go like, I got to know everything I got to know about products before I start selling. I go, no, you got to know who to call. Henry Ford, they say Henry Ford, they talk about how he was not that smart of a fellow. But if you ask him something, he knew who to call. This is a guy that did the car deal, Ford's, became a multi-billionaire. They say he was big on knew who to call, who to get when he needed somebody. Technical competence, who to dial, what screw to twist to make the machine run, where's the grease fittings, the technical stuff. Whether term is a good idea, whether whole life's a good idea, whether return of premium is a good idea, or what carrier will get it issued. Can you tell them, or do you know how to call immediately? And can you get a return phone call immediately? That's technical, baby. Can you get the job done? Conceptual is not being such a only see the screw, only see term, only see the problem. The conceptual is the big view. Y'all with me? This is things you do to get people to come to a meeting. So I'm sitting here talking to a kid or a young person about the business, and I'm talking to them how to book appointments. They clearly see I know how to book appointments. I get them on the phone with somebody else who knows how to book appointments. We talk about the products, and then we talk about the big picture. The big picture is, do you really want to be the person out there selling all the time? Or would you want 80% of your money coming in from a network? The concept, the more conceptual you can be, the bigger picture. How about this? Knowing that there's a huge world, it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. You know, you can fix stuff. People risk their life. the last no-name storm we had was hammering our beach at our house, and we had these awesome steps. And someone said to me, grab those steps. And I said, no. You know what I'm saying? I got a big picture. We can get more steps. But if it rips my hand off, or I go away to say and I drown, I can't. There's no bigger picture there. The little picture is the steps. The big picture is I'm out. That makes sense? That made me, that reminded me of Haley Albright before she's Manly. Haley was a part of a sorority, and all the girls, the sorority house was kind of a mess outside, and they had a meeting, and they said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get our dads to come on a weekend and help clean up and saw this stuff down and chop it up. And she said, wait, did you say we're going to get them to come in here? They said, yes. She said, Daddy's out. My dad's out. And they're like, what? She said, yeah, he'll help. He'll finance something, you know, because he knows how to make money, but he don't know how to make another finger. You with me? Like, I ain't cutting, you know what I mean? And she said, he ain't coming. I know him. He'll come see me. He'll come to the game, but he's not going to. She said, a bigger picture. I remember the last time I climbed a ladder to fix something. It was in my garage at the house here in Burlington. And it was these vines were going up these brick posts. And I got up there at the top of that thing, and I was messing with that thing, and the bottom, it's leans up against something like that right there. And that bottom started sliding out like that right there. And I thought to myself, your fingers are getting ready to get knocked off, because I had the ladder like that. And there's other bad things going to happen. I put my fingers out like that. I closed my eyes, right? And that thing went, and I went, bam! I laid over crying, Jane! You see any blood? Because I don't like to see blood. I went up my eyes. Is there any blood on me? She's like, no, there's a dent in your head. I was like, any blood coming out? She said, no, it's a dent. I was like, well, it hurts really bad. And she said, you can't climb ladders anymore. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, just the bigger concept, the bigger picture. There's more money. There's more time. We can fix a roof. The tree's going to fall down. I noticed the tree's going to fall down. You can't stop a tree from falling down in Florida when a daggum hurricane comes, but you can get the hell out. Does that make any sense? And if people stay for their reasons, their dog or their grandma, and if they can't move, I'm cool. I just always trying to think how I can be more mobile. In other words, prior planning prevents poor performance. So the next event that's coming up, we're not going to say where, but the next event that's coming up, we got to plan on getting there. Does that make sense? And you walk the walk. Do you have integrity? Are you doing it? Are you the mature person? Can you see the bigger picture and understand the concept? And then the last is independent. Now, it's probably going to mess you up. Independent competence, the ability to work with other people. Oh, I'm supposed to be independent. Yeah, the independent competence is the ability with other people to find a solution. Independent competence. Like, how do you get stuff done? You can't get stuff done without other people, Benet. You can't get that pending fixed unless you get somebody, them carriers, to click the right button. Independent competence. Can you work with somebody in cooperation that they get stuff done? This is huge. This is how you inspire trust so that people come to events. In other words, do the do. Be the be. Be the person. Be the magic. All right. Independent competence is listening to other people, because you got to figure out what other people want and what they're willing to do, and then show them what you need done that gets what they really wanted. That making it's getting inside their head. It's independence, the ability for you to figure out what other people want, and so you can show them how to get it, so that you get what you want. It's that sequence of events. All right. Here's a crazy one. Setting goals and working toward them an act of courage. So like being here, like you are, and people that come in is a act of courage. Because they said, I'm going to go get around people. You got to have faith and you got to have the courage, because you got to think that it's worthwhile, and you got to think that something else isn't going to be a disaster when you leave it. You leave that couch, you leave that kitchen, you leave the comfort of your home. You got to have courage. Courage. Okay. Some people say, well, what if I don't have courage? Well, do you know what you got to do? You got to be here. So being here while you were scared is the definition of courage. Courage is not absence of fear. Courage is doing what you're supposed to do in the face of whatever is coming at you. Like if somebody's shooting at you in the Army and you go toward them, there's no definition that says you can't be scared. The definition is you got to charge. That's why the biggest reason I respect military. You know, what my fear is being embarrassed because you talk to someone on the phone, they tell you no. What? But doing it anyway, even though you might get embarrassed, or telling people that they need to be here, Chris, and then they go like, you don't understand. A family, you got to have that courage. To me, that level of courage is not as high as going into outright battle where you get killed or shot in half. But apparently, I have seen big football players and big Army men that can't pick up that dadgum phone. So apparently, somehow, the kind of courage that has you pick up the phone is somehow tied into the courage of getting shot at. But I just admire, maybe what you don't want, or maybe what you don't have, you admire more. Because I got the ability to to talk to people no matter what. You know what I mean? But I don't know what I'd do if I'd be shot at. I mean, I've shot at animals, but if that animal starts shooting back, I'd be like, I don't know. That's to me, that's a greater courage. Maybe they're looking at you, Mike, and saying, yeah, but Mike, he'll go talk to somebody who didn't even know him. Just go right up to him, start talking to him, and meet him and say hello to him. And they might shut him down, embarrass him. He don't even care. I say, oh, he cares, all right. He just wants to meet her. You know what I'm saying? He just wants to meet him. Hey, here it is. His commitment is stronger than his mood. His commitment is stronger than his mood. If I waited to get into a mood to work, I've said it maybe 1,000 times, you're more likely to act your way into a feeling than feel your way into an act. I'm going to act when I feel. Man. You act, and then all of a sudden you're glad that you did it. You're excited about doing it. You got to work. You started making phone calls. I mean, you go in and book 20 appointments. You ain't like, in the beginning, you're not like, oh, it's going to be the greatest thing in the world. You're like, oh, God, I don't even these people. And then you book a couple appointments. You be like, I'm hot now, man. I got 3. That's right. Number 4. You know what I mean? It's just the more you accomplish because you take action, then you start feeling better about it. Same way with recruiting, same with getting people to conventions, same. All of these are the same emotions. I am so jacked up to hear how Mark Aceta walks people through this. Spiral of confidence and courage. Spiral of confidence and courage works like this. What do you want? Where's my coin? What do you want? What'd I do with that daggum thing? Oh, I got it right here. What do you want? Why do you want it? And how do you get it? What, why, and how? So I want to get rich. I want to be a leader. I want to have time. I want to have money. What is it you want? Why do you want it? Give yourself 3 or 4 things and then talk about how to do it. How? A lot of people don't ask how. They start talking about stuff. Telling me, explaining, drawing out their situation, explaining what circumstances they're under. And I'm like, bro, that is not part of the formula. Because people go like, you got to listen. And then when you're recruiting, you got to listen to them. You listen, and you're like, oh, You know, you're listening to their situation because you got to be empathetic. So you're listening. And I mean, the whole time I'm listening, I'm thinking, this is not the way out. Describing your situation over and over is not going to fix it, ever. But I do need to hear it and listen to you. Then we need to talk about what you want, why you want it, and how you get it. So that's these are formulas that I'm thinking, Patrick. So when you're going to Orlando or New Jersey or Pittsburgh, you're going there thinking, I got to get this dude to the convention. And the way I do it is I got to show him how this stuff works with crazy competence and crazy confidence so that I can inspire him to get his butt out of Pittsburgh and down here or to the next event. Does that make sense? It's not, I got to show him how to sell because I don't get him making money. It's, I got to do that because that inspires to get him to come to the convention. And so in between now and the convention, national convention, if you get him making money, so be it. Because you're trying to explain competency, trying to explain how things work to make money, how we sell, how we close, how we get paid, how we get the pending. All that's got to be done, but we're constantly, the end result is getting them to the meeting. Tracking on this, Nick? It's not. And people say, well, what difference does it make if we get them selling? We know they convince. No, they won't. Not if that's not your intent. Not if you didn't begin with the end in mind. The end is doubling the amount of people at a convention. So I thought I want to double my volume and get people to sell twice as much. Yes, you do. This is true. But getting to the next event because you're working on explaining competence to them and getting them competent, and then getting them there, and then they repeat that cycle. It's not just getting to make money, then get them come to the event. We're trying to get them come to the event, and we're inspiring them to come to the event because we've done all the teaching, how things work. This is a lot. All right. So what happens is you go, I'm going to write $20,000 a month so I can walk the walk. Okay, then we got to back it in. All right. Well, how many appointments do you have to do? Are you 20,000 a month, Chris?
Yeah.
You don't need to turn around. Just you're 20,000 a month?
Yeah, roundabout.
Roundabout 19, 18, 16, sometimes 26.
Yeah.
What's been your biggest month this year? You remember?
I think biggest month ever. I think I did 34.
34,000. Was that this year or a year before that?
I think that was towards the end of last year.
Okay. So 20,000. How many appointments do you, so your person's not as good, might have to book more appointments. How many appointments do you book to get that done?
I'm trying to do 40 all the time.
40. So you try to do 20 appointments a week.
Well, 10 every day that I'm in the field. So that's 4 days in the field. So
you're shooting for 40 appointments, 40 appointments booked. Are you hitting that often or is it?
No, not really. It's normally, in the 30s.
So normally in the 30s gets you 20,000 a month. So you might have to book more appointments if you're not as good as Chris. Chris, how long have you been doing this?
Full time, just a little over 2 years.
And your is it mechanical engineering? I want to say I know where you went. Is it Penn State? Purdue. I had the P, and it's north of here. Purdue University, mechanical engineer. So you see how these chain of events work. You're putting it together in your mind. Yeah. I can tell it.
It's coming together.
Yeah.
It's got a ways to go. We're working on it.
Explain to Destiny about our conversation where you were, this was not making sense to you about building and recruiting.
Yeah. So, I had the opportunity to sit down with Andy, what was it about? Well, the beginning of the summer.
Yeah.
And we talked about what the definition of work is basically. So for me, being a technical guy and an engineer, I get the idea of, like as an example, stacking bricks up, and and eventually you stack enough bricks up that makes a wall, right? On the other hand, it hasn't made sense to me in the past that calling up somebody and having a conversation with them, calling up, leaving a voicemail, sending them a text, shooting out social media posts, stuff like that. That's just my technical brain doesn't wrap around the idea that that's work. Right. So still coming to grips with all of that, trying to make it all make sense in my mind, but it's moving in that direction.
So how old are you, Chris?
45.
So 45, you're accomplished, you make good money on the job. There's a lot of psychological reasons that it's slower to register you, much like if I put, what's the war video games that you kill people? Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. I give you a Call of Duty thing. You're like, maybe you're good at it, maybe not, but I give it to, Hilla, who's in his 20s, or Destiny in her 20s, they're going to be like, yeah, let me show you how this works. They're like, even if they've never seen it before, because their mind is so nimble to agree. If that makes sense, like the younger, so you have to make yourself say, this is how it works. Or like programming. I don't know. Pascal, Fortran, Basic. I don't know these computer programs, but I remember taking it as a kid in college, and I could understand if you hit this, it like how programming works. Exactly. So this is just like programming. If you construct or you write the program and you put in the numbers, it's going to kick out the right answer every single time. This program. Now, the only thing I don't understand about programs is how they break. Like, how do they work once and then they don't work the next time? Well, it's a lot like us. We get it, but we forget it. So we have to read it again or reprogram ourselves. That's conventions. It's reading. It's like me reading out of this book and teaching out of this book. It reprograms me, or it fixes the program. But what I learned is if you program it right, you're going to get the results. So what I try to do when I started this, when I was 27 years old and in Amway, I would listen to those speakers and think, so let me get this straight. If I write the program like you're saying, I'll get the money that you ding dong heads make. Because I wasn't blown away like a lot of people like me, and they go like, you're not perfect. I'm like, bro, you're the last to know. I'm the first to know how mistakes I made. You got to be kidding me. That doesn't play into the program, because I get paid for trying to copy that program as good as I can, right? Because so you can write a program. I don't know if y'all know this. You can write programs that take a lot of programming or a lot of words to work, and then you can make them real simple and they get the same results, and there's not as much processing. So writing the program better or more efficient, you get the results kicked out with less energy run on the mainframe or on the computer. Make sense? So the more I could simplify the process, the program of getting stupid wealthy, then the faster I got wealthy and the more wealth I created. So I started studying those speakers that had it and reading the books. And anytime I saw something in the book that didn't agree with the speaker, I would try to go with the book. And if the speaker was like a wannabe, we had it that way. This guy wants to be, Bill Britt, or wants to be Paul. He wants to be, and he talk, blah, 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 blah. And I look at his car and I'd be like, nah, he's a wannabe. You know what I mean? So I'm lining him up with his wannabe house with the guy that's got the house. Does that make sense? Because I want to try to get my program set up as much like them as I could. And it's worked out every time. Get them to the next event. And then the other thing is, here's another trick to the programming. Get them around so if you're recruiting Destiny or what's your name? Macy, M-A-C-Y. I want Macy to be around people that believe, so now me a believer, and then you a believer. Now Macy's more likely to become a believer. We get Destiny believer, you a believer, and me a believer. She's more likely to be a believer, because people's minds say that if everybody says it, must be true. So if they're hanging around ding-dong heads, poor people who have low self-image and they don't want to get rich, they say things like, you ain't going to that convention, don't matter that much. You got dogs to take care of, and your mom and grandmama's dying, and the kid's got a birthday that weekend, because they're non-believers, right? So the more we can get people around believers, then the more we get them to do the right stuff to fit the program that they get wealthy. It's not complicated stuff as long as you remember to stick to the basics. I was explaining to somebody this morning, if a person's selling, you need to make sure they hammer the basics, because if you don't, they can get poor fast. You got to get referrals. Well, first of all, you get a check. You got to get a check in your house. So we ain't in there. We get a check, right? And you're supposed to check upline. So it's 2 checks. You get a check or a deposit nowadays, right? You get a deposit number. I call that a check. You check upline. You call, let them review everything, make sure you did everything right. Number 2, you got to get referrals. So if you got a person fired up, I made a sale, and you go, yay, yay, yay. That is a low sign of maturity on your part, because you're supposed to check and see if they do all 4 things before you tell them how great it is. Like, it's good. Good job getting a sale. Let's review the basics. And you got to do it for yourself. So you got to get referrals, emergency response system. You got to find the money, green sheet. By the way, I don't tell everybody. Megan Wood continues to blow my mind. She said, Andy, I said, how do you get the green sheet? What do you say? She said, I look them in the eye and I say, if you die today, mom and daddy die, what does the kids get? And they go like, what do you mean? We ain't got no insurance. No, but what do they get? What do they get? What do they inherit? And they go like, well, they inherit $200,000 debt for this house. We got $100,000 equity. Great. $100,000 equity, $300,000 house, $300,000 house. They owe $200,000, got $100,000 equity. You found $100,000 equity. Good job. What else do they get? So they get the debt. Do they get the cars free and clear? No, we got debt. So now we write down that debt. All right. What else do they get? Well, I got $400,000 in 401k that they get. Yay, that's good. Your kids get that 401k. That's awesome. What else they get? I get $20,000 in checking. Great. Guess what you just did? You got the green sheet. By talking about what the kid gets. I love that. That's genius right there. That's pure genius is what that is. That's a shortcut to the computer programming. What do you get? What do the kids get? Because we don't want to sell them too much insurance. We want to make sure they get adequate insurance, and we want to get the right kind. So why don't we figure out what they get when they die? So I think it's brilliant. So the money, and then you got to recruit somebody. So there's the 4 basics. So if you got a person who's consistently doing one of the basics, like always going to the house and getting referrals, that's not going to work, because you got to get them money. If they're always getting money but they don't get referrals, that's not going to work. If they don't ever move any annuities, that's not going to work. If they don't ever recruit, that's not going to work. So it's understanding all the basics. So the basics of recruiting, the basics of selling is what you got to learn how to apply. This is a lot. Good stuff. You're going to get a lot slower, a lot more methodical, different methodology, different words, different tone this week from Mark Aceta, I guarantee you. But it's the same dadgum programming that gets you out of where you are. Okay, so opportunities to get people around believers. Get like that, have that where more people say yes. Well, this weekend. Can you get somebody here? One more person in the car with you, one more plane ticket, one more ticket to be here. Jason and Olga are doing a meeting in Fort Lauderdale, October 6th. By the way, all this is on, what's the name of that? It's on the Alliance events. You go on the ARC and you go down connections, hotspots. So you go on connections, go down hotspots, and that takes you to NAA events. Is it NAAevents.com? Yeah. The Alliance events. I'm not going to look it up. It's easy to find. But the recruiters are nonstop looking at the Alliance events that are coming up. When I'm talking to a person and I'm recruiting, what?
Upcoming events. listed there or be on.
Here you go. Here you go. Come here. Where my mic go? I had it right here. Oh, there you go. Tell them like it is, Tia.
Okay, so if you go to theallianceevents.com, there are tabs for upcoming events, which would be like all your national events, national convention coming up, breakthrough next year, all that's on there. Then there's a tab for trips, and then there is a tab for hotspots. So all that is on theallianceevents.com. It's also in several places on ARC, which will link you back to theallianceevents.com.
Hey, let me show you something. Grab that map right there behind you, Debbie. When I'm recruiting, this is what I do. I've always got my map pulled out, and I've got my events that are coming up, because my number one deal, Chris, is to leverage. I saw this on one of smart guys, friends of mine, he said, there's only people who get rich is people that use leverage. If you do it all by yourself, you're never going to get rich. You leverage other people's money. You leverage other people's intelligence. You leverage other people's meetings, other people. You've got to figure out how you can't do it all yourself. Thank you so much for rescuing me. So I'm looking at a map when I'm talking to a person to figure out where they are, because what's the easiest, quickest, fastest way I can get them around other people. The most powerful pressure in the world, Lucero, most powerful pressure in the world is, do you know, Mike Hilla? Most powerful pressure. Peer, P-E-E-R, peer pressure will produce diamonds. Peer pressure, it'll make you do stuff. The quicker you can get people around peer pressure, the more you can get them to sell, recruit, get to the big conventions. So I'm looking at the map. I'm looking at the events. Jason Mathis and Olga have a smoking business. As a matter of fact, I just recruited this Colombian girl. First top-notch thing is get Angela around Olga. Get them to Fort Lauderdale, right? Fly her there. Whatever we got to do, we got to get her there. All right, so Mathis, October 6th. October 7th, I'm going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. That's a Friday. October 7th, I'm going to be in Atlanta. That means it's going to be on fire. We got some crazy new people coming. I'm so excited. There's some people. Riddle is doing a hot spot the 13th in Tampa. Mathis is doing another one October 20th in Fort Lauderdale. Riddle's back in Tampa on the 27th. Riddle's hammering Tampa. We're having a huge annuity and IUL extravaganza. It's be your own banker, smart saving, not hard savings, that type of seminar about big money. Chris Norris, Amber, top producers, Joseph too, the IUL producers are going to be there. This is going to be a big deal. This is October 29th. We recommend you come in on the 28th because it's in Fort Lauderdale and get dinner with friends. It's fun. The yacht club, the yacht show. Have you ever heard about the yacht show in Miami? Like we have all the massive boats. It's a big deal. That's going on that weekend. And I might have done that on purpose. You should go to you should come early and see it, and then come to this event and be there the 29th all day long. We're going to train. North American's going to be there, and Fidelity and Guarantee is going to be there. Somebody asked about NLG. We're going to do something with NLG by themselves. They couldn't do the deal on this timing. But North American and F&G are going to do it all day long. They're going to pay for lunch. It's going to be great. Network with people that are doing it, and anybody you got within 4 hours drive, duh. And if you need to fly somebody in, might be a great time to fly them in because they're going to see some crazy cool stuff. So that's October the 28th and 29th. 29th is all day training. Then I'm hitting the tour again in November. Mississippi Gulf Coast. I call that Biloxi. I hope it's Biloxi, Mississippi. Huh? It's right there. I can see it from there. All right. Then we're doing a big deal with AIG. This is an all-day trail. It's going to be like early, like noon till 6 or 1 till 6 on the November the 9th in Houston. AIG's putting this on. Right now, we've already got 100 people signed up, so it'll probably be more. Great networking event if you got people in Dallas, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Austin, Houston. Duh. Get them there. Oklahoma. It's going to be a great event. All day training, AIG, and the top producers are going to be there. Then from there, we're going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is the 10th. In the morning, that night, we're going to be in Dallas. And then I'm going to be in Indianapolis. Oh, your big date, January 12th through the 15th, is the National Convention 2023. So your ultimate is to get them to that. What am I leaving out, Jeff? Brandon, Clay, Nick. Got it? Books, audios, hammering people. I've had this recruiting strategy that's working like crazy, recruiting these young 20-something-year-olds that are making good money, not desperate. God help. These people are doing good. Hiring them. First thing I'm doing is getting them audios. Audios about save smarter, not harder. Then I'm getting them win the day. I'm getting them, and it turns out that these kids that are already making six figures, they're already listening to audibles, right? So I'm just telling them books, Think and Grow Rich, and just getting them in a mind frame of, hey, to win, this is what it takes. And then I'm going to try to get them around one of these meetings. And if I can't get them around a meeting, I'm going to go to them. That makes a meeting of two. So if I'm there, or if Hannah's there, or Hilla's there, either one of the Hilla, y'all should be like a wrestling team. Y'all have been good wrestlers. The Hilla brothers, you can tag team the insurance. Go to meet with them. Now it's them plus you. And then if you can get one more person there, you got three people. And then say, hey, heads up, January 12th through 15th is our big deal. This is our national championship. You start the game. Yeah, we got to go to practice. Yeah, we got to lift weights. Yeah, we got to eat the right food. Yeah, we got to play the first game and focus on the first game. But our ultimate is this is the date we have zero. Let me ask you this. If you're a football team and you're 4-0 right now, do you have national championship dates in your calendar? You know when that national championship is going to be. True that? If you're in the ACC, you've got the ACC championship football game in your calendar. You don't be like, oh, God, we're in a championship? Oh, that's not going to work. I got a storm coming. You know that's your national championship. If you're there a week early, you don't care. You don't care about nothing but that national championship. This is our national championship coming up in January, somewhere in America that nobody knows yet. We're going to tell you this weekend. 99% of people still don't know, unfortunately. All right. Questions, concerns, candy apples. Chanel number 5. Is this good? You heard all this before? You have? You have not heard it? Some of it. Where did you hear it before? From me. If I was training you to be a big-time preacher, it'd be the same methodology. Easter, we got to have everybody there. That's the national championship. A preacher don't come like, Easter's what day? It's national championship, right? That's and Catholics, they have, the Christians have this, the non-denominational this, and the Jehovah's have this, and the Methodists and the Jewish, everybody's got their national championship. If you a preacher in one of those methodologies, does that make sense? But if you're going to get people doing insurance, this is the system that works. It's unbelievable how it correlates. Because you get more on Easter at church, the bigger the church is going to be. Like, how you know it's going to be bigger? Because it's more people. You don't judge it based on how tall it is or how wide it is or how many it'll seat. It's how many butts in the seats determines the size of the church. True that? Well, not if they do two television. Yes, it is too. You watch. The ones that are the biggest, they're in the seats. They're at rallies. They call them rallies. We call them hotspots. True that? This is not off the wall crazy. This is reminding you or showing you what already exists and just pointing it out and saying, see? People go, oh, when you put it like that. Yeah, when you put it like that, because I don't know how else to put it. It's the program. It's a yes-no program, Chris. It's not a debatable program. This is what works, then how well you execute the dadgum basics. Nick, you heard some of this before, ain't you?
I did.
Yes, you did. from me and others. What do you call them? Elders. Them elders, boy, they know stuff. People say, what's an elder? Well, if you were younger, they're an elder. Yes, they're older. I ain't never heard that. You ever heard of? There's a lot of stuff you ain't heard. I was talking to this smart lady who'd been here in the country 2 years, and I was explaining to her return of premium where you get all your money back. She said, I never heard of that before. I was like, you only been in the country 2 years. They don't have that. They don't have that in the country you come from. But she was frustrated that she didn't know everything within only been in the country 2 years. I said, man, I know 50-year-olds that ain't never heard of it. You're just, you're in your 20s, but you already know more. But it is knowledge, knowing that it's out there. So somebody tells you, and SATs work the same way. Is that what you call them now? Or ACT? What do you call them when you try to get into college? SAT. What they say is, if this, then this. So this is the way it's in the church. Is this the way it is in building a team? And is this the way it is in building a football team? Let me tell you something. If nobody comes see your football team play, you do not have a big sporting event. Does that make sense? You have 55,000 seats and only 10,000 show up. It's not a big game. The amount of people that show up determine the size of the game. No, it's a big game, and that's why people come. Well, the reason people think it is because they think it's a big game. If you don't think January 12th to the 15th is a big game, then you don't plan ahead to be there, right? I assure you, my team, and this is my team, I'm not silly. I strategize to win. Tell mama, kids, dogs, everybody get their mind right. We got a national championship coming up. Does this make sense, Jeff? You know how many times you've heard this? It's making more and more sense. Can you let me talk about that just a little bit, Miss? This is Jeff Bright, who's killing it with calls with a lot of people across the country. Y'all give Jeff a hand. You know what I'm saying? I just think people like you've been hearing me telling this, and then you got to have questioned some things I said. There may still be a lot of things that you question, but you see it evolving. The ones that win execute the computer program the way it's written.
Too many times in the past, and you probably do this too, is you're listening for the complex out of his mind. You ain't listening to the simple. It's more simple than it's more simple than we try to make it in our mind. And sometimes, and we've talked about this, we try to explain it so they can understand it. And really, it doesn't take a lot of explaining. You're trying to get depth. I mean, he's been preaching that to me for
since I've known you. Yeah.
No, and I didn't hear it. I couldn't hear it. I was listening to the words come out of his mouth, but I couldn't hear it. I couldn't register it in my mind because I was trying to make it more than it was, Lucera. And it's not. It's just about building relationships. But building relationships, you got to first get people to like you. That's the first thing. There's a simple formula, and it's crazy where you don't have to know so much. You can be competent without knowing anything. If you get people to like you first. But the first thing you got to do, there's a lot more to get people to like you, but the first thing you got to do is learn to shut your mouth.
But there is a list of things you got to do.
Yeah. But you got to learn the basics before you start making it too complex. Like, what's the difference between an IUL and a UL? I mean, you way down the road, man. You way too far down the road if you ask that's your first question. But I mean, just listening to people, you got to learn to not say anything. If you can learn not to say anything, people will like you. And if they like you, they will trust you. But to get people to trust you, you got to bond with them and you got to start caring for them. But you first got to shut your mouth. Then you got to learn to open your mouth and say caring statements. And if you get people to trust you, guess what? They will see you as competent. You don't even have to be competent. They're going to give you a get out of jail free card. They're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to help you sell the policy to them. And if you can get people to see you as competent and credible, guess what? They'll have confidence in you and they'll follow you anywhere you. But isn't it funny? It starts with shutting their mouth. Then you need to say stuff like, I hate to hear that. that bothers me to my core. I'm going to take that with me today. Then they're going to want to know what you know. And if you don't know much, they're going to be okay with that. Then they're going to have confidence and you're going to be their agent for life. But it starts with likability, trust, then competence, and then confidence. But it's all happening at one time. A lot of you struggle getting people to like you. I ask people all the time, do you get people to trust you before you get them to like you? They go, yeah. I'm like, no. You get people to like creates trust. Trust creates competence or credibility, and credibility creates confidence. And I've been listening to this man talk all this time, and I know all this stuff in my head, but he puts it in a way that you can use it. A lot of stuff I say, you can't use it at all. It's just way too academic. But he takes this complex, he has an ability to make it simple enough for you to get rich with.
Hey, let's watch this one. January 12th, 15th. If you're talking to a person, hey, just want to let you know, our national convention is January 12th to the 15th, January 12th to the 15th. And I'm going to be there. You just showed them that you like the team. And people like people that like people. So the sooner you're saying it, it shows that you're a follower. Because I don't want to be a follower. I want to be a leader. If you don't follow, how are they going to follow? They follow people that you become a great leader by becoming a great follower. You can't be a great leader running out into the middle of nowhere and even know where you're going. You've got to have a passion and a mission and a direction that you follow. So telling them about the event is a step to get them to like you because they know you're a liker. You're a liker of the conventions. You're a liker of the team. It's just such a formula that's why in the first 15 minutes or first time I'm talking about these dates, let's go ahead and get these dates because I want them to like.
I think
I'm not mean about it.
Did y'all hear what we said? You gotta be a liker to be likable. That's what I meant by shutting your mouth. I'm not saying literally shut your mouth, but when I'm trying to find common ground, but I'm not going to sit there and disagree with them, number one. And I'm also going to look at them and go, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say. If you ever watch him do calls, that's the one thing that I paid attention to. Is he used to Thursday calls.
Yeah.
We sit in here and do these calls. That's where the magic was. That's what you're doing on the road now. But you used to do it in here.
Yeah.
And you sit there. Now, sometimes he put them on mute. But he didn't interrupt their flow, man. Let them talk. They talked about nothing.
I guarantee you.
Got to learn to listen to nothing. And it's tough. That is, like we're sitting here glazing over and saying, like, well, I can be likable. I'm like, can you? That's one of the most difficult things you can do is quit talking about yourself. Quit being a topper.
Oh, God. My cousin did that twice. I did that when I was 12. Okay. Yeah. Hey, guys, look. We got a great event coming up. If we get one more person here, that's huge. During this event, we're studying the January 12th meeting, and we're studying ourselves where we're screwing up the program. We're trying to get our program. We're trying to get our mixer. We're trying to get our processor clicking on the right cylinders. Okay? Us, like working hard on ourselves during these next 4 days. And we might be texting some people trying to get them to the next one. Like, you're missing this one. Oh my God, it's great. I learned this. You're going to love this. How are you doing? How are you booked? Are you safe from the storm? Right? Because they're not here. So we went from trying to get them here. Oh, by the way, being mad at them because they ain't come is not a good strategy. Next. I know whatever happened this time is in the past. Next game. Batter up. Next pitch. Batter up. Here we go. Not being mad. That is not a good strategy. All right. Y'all get after it. I got a couple people in there I want to say hello to. I hadn't met. Thank y'all so much. Hope this helped. Let's do this thing. This is our year to get rich. Can't wait to tell y'all where we're going next. I want to get that out of my way so I can quit trying to keep it a secret.